Templar, what would you do if somebody decided to ruin your life, chase your wife, chase your dog, chase your brother, and still try to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars? What would you do, Templar 10? I'm trying to hook. I'm trying to hook something.
No, it's a great hook. I'm not up to the task today. Apparently, that was well, maybe not a layout. That was a little more challenging than that. But you set that up for me.
I'll try. Welcome to the Roundtable, where
tough situation.
Welcome to the Roundtable, where I post these questions to Templar, and he is befuddled and doesn't quite know how to answer. That's my job. My job is to set him up as the expert, and then he slapshots them into
not be the expert.
Today, as you can see from the title of this episode, we're going to be talking about The Firm. It's the end of our May book club. And we decided on The Firm by John Grisham, which is a book unlike any other book that we have done in our book club. Just so you know, we are also this month we're reading All the Light We Cannot See, which
you got your copy. All right,
I did. Have you read this yet?
No, I've never read it.
Okay. Spoiler: it is interesting. I will put it that way. Interesting in an interesting way. And I would love to see your thoughts. The way it's written is completely unlike The Firm. We're not going to talk about All the Light We Cannot See. We're talking about The Firm. Templar, before we get moving, what made you want to choose The Firm for our book club this month?
I believe you suggested it, and I value your input. So that's what made me want to give yourself a pat on the back, man. So hey.
Down.
We were talking about different book ideas, and I was into the idea generally because I've never read Grisham, and Grisham is like someone who is just around, like I've just been aware of for decades, maybe many, many years. And we were going to talk about it a little later, but I could just mention it now. Like my understanding of Grisham is like airport book, reading on the metro, reading on the subway, reading on the airplane. Like, it's just like if you just see someone reading a random book around, it's like Michael Crichton, John Grisham, maybe Tom Clancy or something. Like it's like, I feel like those three guys are kind of in a similar vein to me, and Crichton and Grisham more maybe than Clancy, but like those two especially, I think they were just, especially when I was younger, I just felt like they were so ubiquitous. They were just everywhere. You saw Grisham, and like you were seeing so many movies being made of their books, and like it was just constant. So I was interested because I read Crichton for the first time a couple of years, I think 2 years ago now or 3 years ago now. Generally had a good time with Crichton. So I was kind of excited to read Grisham. I mean, sometimes things are bestsellers and they shouldn't be, and sometimes things are bestsellers because they're good and a lot of people like them and they're just popular. Like they're popular for a reason. Yeah. So you can find out what I thought about this one shortly, but that's my feelings about Grisham.
You can go. I'll have timestamps down the doodly-doo if you just want to skip around. So this is the entire book is kind of encapsulated in this one image. I kind of wrote this out, but Mitch McDeere is the protagonist of this. He at one point in the book realizes that the firm who he has been hired by has been watching his entire life. They've been watching his apartment, his mail, his marriage. They've installed bugs and wires in his car and in his office and in his home. And the people who recruited him know everything about him before he even shook their hand and signed on the dotted line. That's the entire book in one image. You're not being hired, you're being owned more than anything. And that's kind of scary for the uninitiated. This is the newer copy, obviously, but there's a young broke Harvard law student named Mitch McDeere and his wife Abby. He gets an offer from a small firm in Memphis, and this offer is too good to be true. Seems like it's too good to be true. It gets like a top salary. He gets his own BMW. He gets all of his student loans paid off. He gets his bar exam paid off. I mean, he gets the whole package. They get a house. They get a low interest mortgage. All sorts of stuff. he then catches the attention of the FBI because the firm has caught the attention of the FBI, and the FBI tells Mitch that this firm has a habit of lawyers that keep dying. Mitch has to figure out how to survive the firm, how to survive the FBI, how to survive his brother being in prison, and how to get out without losing everything, including his wife, Abby. The genre of the book I would call legal thriller, but the actual story, it's a legal thriller sheen on it, but it's really more like an escape room. That's what it feels like. It feels like a trap and escape puzzle, like one of those, escape rooms like you go to and you got to get out in an hour. So I guess, first experience kind of reading it, overall impressions, Templar, like what was your impression reading this book?
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of it. I don't read a lot of thrillers. Like, that's not really a genre I'm well read in. I read a lot of genre, like fantasy, sci-fi stuff, or like some classics, historical stuff. So I didn't know what to make of it. Generally, I like books that move. Like, so I like books that have pretty strong plotting where I can know what's coming. There's kind of always something happening. And this book starts a little slow because it's doing the setup that you need to kind of get the ball rolling. But once it's rolling, I'd say it moves along quite well. It's pretty engaging in terms of, you're looking to see what happened. Maybe this is my lack of knowledge with the thriller genre. I was surprised how much information it gives you, because I associate with a thriller more with the idea that it's like, maybe I'm mixing it more with like mystery, but it kind of feels like the book gives you a lot more than I expected it to fairly early in terms of like what's happening behind the scenes, where I thought it would be more of a, he's there and like slowly over time he starts to see things that are a little out of the ordinary, or see things that like don't quite add up or whatever. But like he just kind of gets there and then immediately it's like, oh no, this is like shady and crooked and whatever. Yep. And it's like, oh, okay, well that feels like there could have been a build up to that wasn't really there. But so overall impressions is like solid. But again, it's tough. Like I started this year by reading like 16 book series in Warhammer 40K. And then I read a bunch of like a decent number of Space Marine books. So it's like my context for reading is tough. Like it's like, oh, this is just like a book about a lawyer at like a law firm in the South. I was like, oh, okay. So maybe my expectations in terms of the genre were not what they should have been, and maybe this is just such a left turn from so much of the other stuff I've read this year that I didn't really know what to make of it, because I came away kind of whelmed. Like it was fine. I didn't love it. I thought it was solid. I thought the writing was solid. I thought the story was solid. I thought it was all just kind of solid.
I want to talk about the writing. Grisham has a way of writing that I wrote down on my notes. It's lean and functional. There's not a whole lot of flourish.
Yeah, gets the job done.
Yeah, it gets the job done. There's not really a whole lot of like description. There's not a lot of that going on, which that's again the whiplash that you're going to get when you get into all the light we cannot see. There's going to be a lot of whiplash there. Let's just put it that way. Is his prose a feature or is it a flaw? Is it a bug or is it something that you think is good for him? Because it is a worldwide bestseller. Like millions of people have read this book.
I think it's a feature. I mean, I think it's something people like about it. I would imagine, especially if you're appealing to like a very wide audience, which I don't mean in a bad way. I just think these types of books are pretty wide appeal. You don't necessarily, like if you write in a very poetic way, you're going to exclude a decent chunk of people because a lot of people don't necessarily want that. Like, or if they're more plot focused, like which I can be at times, you're not skimming, but like the way you're reading is like, you're not really taking in necessarily all the description anyway. So it's sort of like perfunctory then to your reading experience. So I think at least this book, I mean, obviously my experience is limited. It's more plot focused. You're there to kind of see him in this situation. How's he going to get out of it? It's not like a deep character study or something. Like, no. Not to say that there are like, I think Mitch is pretty well realized character. I think there's some depth to him. I think Abby is pretty well realized. Like, but a lot of the other characters, you don't know that much about them really. They're setting up it seemed to me like they were setting up what was his name? The guy with the black eyes, who's like he's established as being very sinister, and he works for the Chicago family that's there. I'm blanking on his name right now. No, Lambert's
Oliver?
like the old
Nathan
Locke. It seems like they're setting him up as like a real villainous presence in the book, and then I feel like that's not really paid off. Anyway, I'm getting out. I think the writing. I think it's a feature. I think it does what it needs to do. I think, and again, I don't mean this negatively, but people who are wanting this type of story and are more plot focused in their reading, maybe you don't need to be really flowery with it. Like, it's just, you need to get the job done. I need to know what's happening. There's some description and it's nice. And we're moving on to the next mystery, the next thing for him to solve, the next problem. So I think it's absolutely a feature, and I think it works well. Like, I think for what the book is trying to do, it's appropriate.
Yeah, I blew through this book in a weekend, picked it up on a Thursday afternoon, Friday, Saturday, and I was done by Sunday. Because and it's 533 pages. It's like that type of movement. Like, it's just going. And to be fair, he does have a good way of, it's not necessarily giving you all of the cliffhanger end of chapter, I must read another part, but because it's moving, you kind of just get swept up in it a little bit. And I think that's not a bug, that's a feature. I don't know if I've said it on this show before, but I have said it elsewhere. I grew up, when I was in late middle school, I was a voracious reader all throughout middle and middle into high school. I read all of John Grisham's books that were out up into the mid 90s. I was, it was 94, 95, 96. I went through all of those. I mean, I went through Margaret Weiss and Hickman. I was through
Shadow Dragonlance.
Dude, Dragonlance, and then all of that stuff. But so I was plowing through books, and I could not get enough of the way Grisham would write, because again, I'd get a stack of 4 or 5 books in the summer and like blow through them in a week or two, and then go back to the library, like beg my mom to go back to the library and blow through them, and just all of them. And they have a clip to them. They have like they're going. One thing I did want to point out, though, out of all the books we've read in our book club, Catch-22, Brave New World, what am I blanking on here? Mistborn. This is probably the most like plot forward book. Like, there's not a whole lot of meat on those bones. It's just, that is all plot. Does that fit with our book club? Are we just kind of fleshing out what we're doing in our book club, or is it kind of an outlier so far?
I mean, Mistborn would be the other one that's like has like the plot moves, but there is a lot of extra stuff that's going on in that. Obviously, with fantasy, there's a whole world building you need to do that just isn't present here. So yes, I think that's definitely fair. It goes along with it. I mean, I think one of the things, certainly behind the scenes and like my own thought process of it, is that we're trying to get some variety in terms of the books that we read. Like, we're doing novels, like it's a novel focused. We've talked about doing some nonfiction, but I don't think we will be this year. But, as we continue on, maybe next year, whatever, maybe we'll do some nonfiction stuff. But we're focusing on novels, and we're trying to get a kind of smattering of different options and different vibes and different writing styles. And I mean, Brave New World, we have dystopian, classic, very... How would you describe the writing style of Brave New World? Descriptive, evocative writing style, like heavy imagery, heavy theory, and kind of idea laden. Catch-22, experimental, esoteric writing style, right? Like looped and like so convoluted, it seems in certain ways, and like, very complex ideas. But then towards the end, you start to get some plot movement on it. True. Yep. Mistborn, fantasy, intro to fantasy type of, again, I think the writing style actually is somewhat similar between Sanderson, at least, and Grisham, in the sense that I would describe them both as being fairly functional writing styles. But obviously, your world building, magic system building, whatever. So I think we've had a lot of variety in terms of what we've read so far. And so I think it fits in the sense that we're trying to do some different things. And then All the Light We Cannot See for next month, that's kind of another totally different like vibe, historical fiction. It sounds like, from what you're saying, probably much more poetic writing style, I would guess, like, or much more flowery maybe writing style. So
different, maybe not flowery,
or
but something definitely different. So I agree with you there. I want to turn the conversation real quick, not real quick, but I want to turn the conversation to kind of two main lanes that I think we live in. The first lane is I want to talk about the fact that this is going to sound weird. Mitch is not a hero at the start. Really throughout the book, he's not really a hero. He's kind of greedy up front. He's a little manipulative. I feel like he manipulates Abby a little bit. He has an affair on his wife. Like he definitely cheats on his wife, whether it was set up or not. By the firm.
Never admits it in the book, and like
that's true.
We'll talk later about some book versus movie differences, and obviously, like if it wasn't clear, we're doing spoilers here. So I'm sorry. Like all of these before have been spoilers. We're doing spoilers. No, it's fine. I don't think we've really spoiled anything too much until now, but. Yeah, but and never, like, to your point about him not being a hero, I know you were going to continue on there, but like never admits it to his wife. The book kind of ends actually with like a callback to it. And at that point I hadn't forgotten it, but it wasn't front of mind. I'd kind of been into the end of the book and I was along with it. And like right at the end of the book, he like Grisham references back, like reminds us that he did that. And I don't know if that's to establish, like if that's sort of a Godfather situation where he didn't want people to view Mitch as like a hero. For those who don't know, in Coppola, after The Godfather, didn't like that people thought that Michael, like liked Michael coming out of the first movie. So in the second one, he really hammered home that he was like a villain. Maybe that was the idea there. But it's a very strange way to end the book because it really ends on a bit of a like, oh yeah, that's right, he did that, and he never came clean. Nothing ever came of that. Like, so anyway, sorry to cut you off there, but to your point, yeah, he's definitely not a hero. He does what he needs to do, I guess, or he does what's like practical to protect himself in some ways as well, and maybe do the right thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with that too. But I think even more than that, he's not an anti-hero. You know, he's not the version of the boys. No. You know, he's not that. He's
Topical.
not thanks. He's not he's not setting himself up to like kill puppies or anything. Like he's not sadistic.
No,
he does end up stealing. He's not a villain, right? He's I struggle to like put a title on it. And to me, he feels like he's just a compromised man who has to decide where his actual line is, like where the line that he will not cross is. I think that's more interesting. I think that's a difference that the movie has versus the book, and we can talk about that. That's another kind of parallel there. But the movie really and granted, you're paying Tom Cruise all this money, portrays Tom Cruise, action star, running through, running away from villain and kicking people and, jumping out of second story windows and stuff. Like they're very much trying to set him up as the hero. Whereas Mitch in the book, he's a little more scummy. He definitely steals a bunch of money. He definitely hides it away. He definitely cheats on his wife. And like, he definitely like lives with that. And so, I don't know, like for you, did he draw the line does he not draw the line soon enough, or does he draw the line too far? Or is this just like, okay, we just need to write a story. Like he's going to be kind of the Deus Ex Machina of this firm getting taken down?
It's tough. I think he does feel like a real person in that sense. Like you said, he feels like a compromised guy. Like he's not heroic. He's not like, my question is, if he had been at the firm for a few years and then he was approached, do you think he would have done it, or do you think he would have stuck with the firm?
That's a great question.
I kind of think he might have stuck it out. Like, I don't know if he would have, like, I think if he had been there and they had kind of hit their hooks in him farther, I think he might have gone along with it. Like, I don't know if he would have done what he does. I think he does it because it's all new and he's still kind of idealistic coming out of law school. There's a great scene in the movie between him and Gene Hackman, which we can get to, talking about that kind of idealism that's really well done, I thought.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think he's just a compromised guy. He seems to kind of want to do the right thing. He gets put in a kind of an impossible scenario because it's like, take this incredible offer and gamble that the FBI will not find another way in. But you're going to be doing kind of shady stuff. or work with the FBI, but now you and your like wife's lives are in danger, like, and you could potentially just disappear. Like, that's a tough thing, especially like just coming in the door. So I think the struggle there is genuine in that I think that would be a genuinely difficult, as much as you might morally want to just say like, yeah, well, of course I'm going to do the right thing. It's like, well, it's hard when you and your wife's like lives are on the line for it, and you haven't really seen a lot of the illegal activity yet, and you're kind of going based on this, and he starts looking into it, and like it adds up, but it feels real. It feels like a real inner conflict that a guy would have. And I think I like that he's not really the hero. And ultimately it's kind of like, yeah, he's going to steal from the criminals. Like, and I guess he doesn't really care. Like, he takes millions or like however much he takes from the 90s money. So it's maybe not as much as it would be if his book was written today. But he takes this money from them and he kind of, whatever, goes to the Caribbean or whatever. So
yeah, and escapes with his brother and goes and lives on a boat, and then it's kind of weird. The second lane I did want to talk about then is the movie aspect of this, because I think that does color more so the discussion than any other book we've read. Catch-22 has a movie. Brave New World had a really crappy TV show that we didn't really talk about.
Right.
Catch-22 has a TV show as well that actually was really good. I watched it.
Yeah.
So the book, the end of the book, Mitch outsmarts everybody. He doesn't cooperate with the FBI. He finds a third path. He copies tens of thousands of documents, and then he do all this other stuff. And then he escapes with Abby. He escapes with the money and leaves. He kind of beats the system. And in doing so, he's left as this morally ambiguous character. Whereas in the movie, Tom Cruise is obviously Tom Cruise and Gene Triplehorn, and there's a bunch of other people you've probably seen everywhere before. Gene Hackman, of course, is Avery Tolar. Mitch cooperates more. I feel like he cooperates a little bit less directly with the FBI, and he's a little more maverick. Maybe he's a little more Top Gun Tom Cruise than anything else. And I think they needed him to be. They needed a conventional sort of thriller heist type thing. They needed a chase through a terminal. They needed Cruise to be the good guy. They needed all those things. And then the ending is kind of weird. Like, I found the ending of the movie weird. Where
I don't like the ending of the movie.
No
spoilers, but I'm not really into the ending of the movie.
No,
the idea that he ends up getting them on the billing is kind of clever, I guess, in the sense that I guess they're trying to work out what's some other way he could get the firm without cooperating and do it like mail fraud. He gets them for mail fraud, essentially. And I guess they reference like Capone or something. Yeah, like, so that's kind of clever. But the idea that he then just goes and like blackmails the mob, essentially.
There's
and
the
says
mob,
like,
right there, right under you was him blackmailing the mob.
He goes to visit the two guys and just blackmails them, essentially, to say like, I have all this information, I guess. And he doesn't even ever say it, but I guess the insinuation is, I have all this data, I have all this information, it can be released. Right now, I guess it's just the firm going down, not you guys. If you come after me, then that information will come out and it'll be you guys as well. So it's like kind of like a bold strategy, Cotton. Like, let's see how that works out for him in terms of blackmailing the mob. Like, I don't. And maybe I'm misreading the ending of the movie, but I think that's basically how it goes. And then they're just like, okay, well, I guess we're going to go back to Boston or whatever. And it's like, wait, what? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
I don't like that ending at all. I don't know why they didn't stick with the book ending. The book ending is also a little weird, but it makes more sense to me than in that, like, he copies all these documents. He does give the documents ultimately to the FBI. So he does kind of help them, but he doesn't go into witness protection. He doesn't trust them, because it's not in the movie, but in the book, you have this whole subplot of, it's not in the movie, right? Where it gets leaked, like where there's the traitor in the FBI that gives the information over.
In the book. Yeah, that's in the book.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, that's in the book. It's not in the movie.
Nope.
So in the book, he has even more reason to not trust them, because it's like, well, how can I go into witness protection? Like, you already are compromised, right? So he does kind of help them in that he gives them all these documents. So they do end up nailing the firm and the mob in the book. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, he helps more, but he also just steals a bunch of money and then disappears to the Caribbean or the Cayman Islands or like, wherever he goes.
Yep.
Yeah, so the ending of both I don't love. I don't really love either ending, but I think the ending of the book makes a little more sense if that's how you want to set it up. And that he kind of helps the FBI enough that you would presume they won't come after him. Now the mob might, but it's like he kind of gets help from someone who also seemingly has been on the run forever. So it's sort of this idea he's just going to keep being on the run. It does feel like he pays more of a price there. Like he has all this money, but you're kind of stuck looking over your shoulder forever. Whereas the movie really wants it to be just a bow, like just to wrap it up kind of nicely. Everything's good. And we're just going to go back to Boston. It's like, all right.
Yeah. Two things about the movie. Number one, does Tom Cruise as Mitch McDeere, does that work for you? Does like the 5'8" Superman that Tom Cruise is, 5'4", whatever he is, does it work as the main character here?
Tom Cruise is a good actor. So, I mean, yeah, like it works. It's fine. I mean, does he fit exactly Mitch in the book? I don't think so. But he does a good job with it. And the movie is different. Like there's enough that's similar, but the movie's kind of a different vibe, but I think is good. I like the movie. I think it's well made. And a lot of the actors are really good. And Tom Cruise is great. Like he's a good actor. So I think he does a nice job with it. Obviously, as you said, they pump up the action. They give him kind of more to do to be the hero. That's fine. It's Tom Cruise. You kind of expect that. Yeah, so it's fine. Like I don't know if he's a perfect casting for the role, but I think he does a good job because he's a good actor and it's fine. He doesn't need to be a superhero in it in terms of the action. There's a little bit at the end.
Right.
So, Cruise fits it fine, I think.
What about Avery Tolar then? Gene Hackman as the mentor. How do you feel about that? I feel like the relationship in the book is a little bit more snappy, whereas I feel like Gene Hackman brings a little bit more warmth to that. Even so far as like the affair thing happening at the end. And Gene Hackman,
he like helps him. Yeah, he basically tells her that it was set up.
Yeah, exactly. Like that doesn't happen in the movie or in the book.
In the book, he just kind of disappears. I think, right? He just sort of vanishes at one point, and then you find out they killed him off screen or whatever, like off the page. It's like we don't read about him dying.
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas he kind of gets a bit of a hero moment in the movie. Because, I mean, it goes back to that conversation, which I mentioned, which was this like idealism conversation. So I think that's meant to be like Tolar maybe was similar to Mitch. And this, I think, is the idea that he was kind of idealistic as well. And then he's just kind of been beaten down by it, whatever, over time. But he takes that opportunity to do something good, I guess, before they come to like take him out.
Yeah.
Again, it's a bit of a different, as you say, I think it's a different version of the character. I don't really think it's that close to the book character, but Hackman does such a good job with it that I'm not mad at it. Like I think he's great in the role, and it's just a very different portrayal than the book version of Tolar is.
Yeah, agreed. Do you think the movie holds up? It's 30 plus years old. Do you think it holds up?
Yeah, I mean, there's not movies like this, I think, can hold up really well because, like, you don't have any crazy special effects or anything. It's just like people in offices talking and lawyer stuff. Like, it's nothing. So, yeah, I think it holds up really well. I thought it was pretty entertaining.
I do think it's funny, though, watching something this old, pre-internet, pre-mobile, pre-iPhone. Like, none of this would work in today's day and age.
No.
The copying of documents. Come on. I mean, all you do is just send a link to a Google Drive at this point, and it's done. I do think that the movie holds up. It's a little cheesy, and you can definitely tell, the 30 plus years. Sidney Pollack is a great director, but back in the heyday of Sidney Pollack, it's kind of like the long lingering, quick cut, long linger, quick cut, long. Like there's a definite style to this.
There's a style. Yep.
And the music is super cheesy and whatever. But okay, so final little bits before I ask for your score. Anything like overall, how did you feel about the book itself?
I had a fine time with it. I thought it was solid. I came away generally enjoying it. I don't regret having read it. It doesn't make me want to read anything else by Grisham, though. So, yeah, generally a good time. I thought it was pretty well conceived. Some of the choices were a little odd to me in terms of like just plot details of what happened. the way things developed, as I mentioned earlier, I thought was kind of strange, which I guess I can get into more detail now. But it seems like they're going to keep it kind of a mystery. And then in chapter 4, there's just like a meeting where they're like, oh yeah, yeah, we're bad guys. The mob in Chicago, the family, like, yeah, we've got all these bugs in his house, and like, it's like, okay, well, this is a bit of a. I feel like you were building up some tension there, and you kind of undercut all of that by giving us the firm guy's perspective from it. I thought we'd mostly be with Mitch, and then like maybe late in the book we might get something else. And so I feel like him just kind of showing us that at least undid some of the tension for me, because I really thought it would be more slow played in terms of the mystery and the like tension of it. And it kind of wasn't, because all of a sudden we just get these meetings every couple chapters from then on of like, they're showing up. It's like, oh yeah, we got this bugged and we're hearing this and that. And they're being weirdos about like, what him and Abby are doing. And like, and it's just like, okay, like this isn't like the tension here. If the tension just becomes, how is he going to get out of it? He's trapped. What's he going to do? Like, how is he going to be clever or whatever? Not so much what is going to give away what's happening and how is he going to slowly realize, and and maybe that's just not the way Grisham writes, but that's kind of more what I was expecting from a thriller, was to have it build slowly over time, and it just never really got there for me.
Yeah. Out of 10, what do you think?
6.
6 out of 10? Yeah, that's about what I would give it. As an adult, going back, I don't mind blowing through a book in a weekend. I really don't. I do want something with a little meat on its bones. And it was a perfect kind of book for the weekend that I was having. My daughter was graduating college, and so we were at an Airbnb. I got it on a Thursday. We left on a Friday afternoon, drove to Orlando. So it's about a hour and a half, 2-hour drive. Did the dinner with all the family and everything. Read like a bunch more chapters of it. Had the graduation, the whole thing on a Saturday up until Saturday afternoon. Had about 2 hours in the evening to just read. Sunday morning, read a little bit, drove home. I was done by Sunday afternoon when we got home. I mean, it was a perfect sort of like boom, 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 like being able to take big chunks of it that way. I do not think that I would want to continue. That's not true. I want to pick up The Rainmaker again. I really remember liking The Rainmaker. That's the Matt Damon movie. He's like a young idealistic lawyer, instead of Mitch McDeere just kind of being a little sleazy scumbag. So that would be one. But other than that, yeah, I'd give it maybe a 6. I don't even think any higher than a 6. Do you think it's required reading for Lucksites, or do you think it's a skip it?
Grisham is so ubiquitous that I feel like this book will appeal to a certain audience. And again, I don't mean that negatively. I just think maybe I'm just not the right audience for it.
What do you mean, Templar?
These were bestsellers. These were all bestsellers. Like all of his books were best. Like he sold a ridiculous number of books. So like obviously there was a big audience for what he was doing.
Yep.
So it just, it didn't resonate with me that well. I thought it was fine, like solid. So I would say it's worth checking out if you have an interest in like thrillers, I guess less mystery, but a little bit of mystery kind of stuff. If like the tension of that and how he's going to get out of it, and if that interests you, it's well done. Like it's pretty well plotted, despite I think I have some issue with some of the events that happened that don't make a ton of sense to me. But yeah, I would say it's worth checking out if you have any interest in like the thriller kind of genre, or even just to say you've read something by Grisham, which maybe doesn't matter to some people. To me, I was like a bit of a box to check in the sense that he was just around so much. I wanted to at least see, some of it. Like, who is this guy that had so many books and so many books that were adapted that, it's worth investigating. So I'd say it's worth checking out. Yeah.
Okay.
But you'll also know what it is fairly early. So like, you might, maybe you go to the library and you get it, and then you read the first 5-6 chapters. That is what the book is going to be. So if you're not into it at that point, then move on. But I'd say it's worth checking out. Sure.
That's a good call. Well, on that note, I'm going to end this here episode of the Roundtable. Thanks for joining us for our book club next week, or next month. Again, all the light we cannot see. I'm just going to, I'm 60 pages into this book and I'm fascinated by it. I don't know that I'm going to love it. I don't know that I'm going to hate it, but I am fascinated by it. If for no other reason than the chapters are like 3 pages long, or
That's
maybe not the chapters, but it feels
like you're moving through it when it's done like that.
It does.
No?
And it doesn't so far.
Okay.
It's not bad, but also it's I don't know how to explain it. So it'll be good. I'm looking forward to hearing what your review is, Mr. Templar 10. But until then,
Also,
go ahead.
Also shout out Dr. Level Up, who is doing the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People in the month of June as well in our Discord. So Lux, discord.gg/Lux Digital Church. During the summer, we're continuing on with our novel book club here that we talk about, but we're also going to be doing other book clubs that are more special interest based, different types of things, tapping into some expertise within the community. So I think Level Up will do a great job with that. So if you have any interest in that, then pop on over, check it out, join the book clubs, and you can jump in.
Clubs with a Z, because we're cool kids. That's how we do it. Clubs.
That's how you know.
Yeah. Until then, for Templar 10, I'm Chino Mage. We'll see you next time. Love you.